Aha! Today we're going to be talking about two famous magicians, Ricky Jay and Harry Houdini. Both were very successful and also had careers as actors, although the former much more so than the latter. And in keeping with illusion, it is important to note that neither Ricky Jay nor Harry Houdini was the birth name of the performer, and in fact they took on stage names in order to basically have a onstage persona that's separate from who they really are. I'm Yona Paley and I believe genealogy is fun, and today it's a magic double feature where we're going to be talking about the sleight of hand artist and actor Ricky Jay and escape artist and illusionist Harry Houdini. Ricky Jay was born in 1946 in Brooklyn as Richard J. Potash, and he was undoubtedly a big fan of Harry Houdini because when he died in 2018, his estate actually had a huge collection of magic-related memorabilia, including a lot of really old, rare, original posters of Harry Houdini. But unlike that guy's impressive handcuff and escape acts, Ricky Jay primarily focused on sleight of hand tricks, and he in fact was also a really talented actor, performing in some Paul Thomas Anderson films like Boogie Nights and Magnolia, and he also worked extensively with the director and playwright David Mamet. He was a born performer, and his parents were Samuel Potash and Shirley Katz, neither of whom he had spoken about very fondly, but he was really happy that they hired a magician to perform at his bar mitzvah. Samuel was the youngest of 5 children and the only one to be born in the United States. He had actually 4 younger sisters born in the Russian Empire, and his parents were Jack Potash, a butcher, and Pauline Romanek or Goldberg. And unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure when Jack died. There are a number of Jack and Jacob Potashes who died in New York, and none of them can conclusively be linked. But what I can tell you is through a number of sources, I can actually tell you what Jack's original Jewish name was and where in the Russian Empire he and his family came from. His oldest daughter's gravestone shows his Hebrew name to have been Yechiel, and this is in line with his ship manifest, where he came over to the US in 1907. He had sailed from a town in modern-day Khmelnytsky region of Ukraine, and that town is called Krasiliv. Now, this is actually where the trail runs cold. So we know that Ricky Jay's grandfather was named Yechiel Potash from Krasiliv, Ukraine, but that's basically it. There aren't any records that are definitively linked to this family, but from the manifest, we know that's for sure where he came from. And now we jump to the guy who is arguably the most famous magician ever to have lived, and that of course is Harry Houdini, who invented a lot of really impressive escape-related tricks and toured the United States and Europe. But I bet you didn't know that Harry Houdini's father was a rabbi. He was born Eric Weiss in 1874 in Budapest, Hungary, one of 8 or 9 children of Mayor Samuel Weiss and Cecilia Steiner. And Houdini's birth record is actually available online. It's indexed through JewishGen, and from that I was able to find it on Family Search. The family migrated to the United States around 1877 and settled for a time in Appleton, Wisconsin, where Mayor Samuel worked as a rabbi. And the family moved pretty soon afterwards to New York City, and that is where Mayor died in 1892. His death certificate lists his parents as Leopold Moses Weiss and Josephine. And his gravestone, which is a bit difficult to read because it's a low resolution image, shows his Hebrew name to have been Meir Shmuel, son of Moshe Tzvi. Now you might be thinking that this is where the story ends, and you're mostly right, but thankfully, due to the birth certificate of one of Harry Houdini's brothers, Ferenc Weiss, we're actually able to learn where Meir Shmuel came from before the family lived in Budapest. On the 1876 document, it lists Meir Shmuel's place of birth as Nagy Kadnicka, which is a town located some 200 kilometers southwest of Budapest, near the border with Croatia. There are actually a lot of records available for Weisses from Nagy Kadnicka, but unfortunately, because Weiss is such a common last name, there aren't any that are able to be conclusively tied to Meir Samuel or Leopold. There are a number of mentions of Leopold Weisses, but there are so many of them, and none of them appear to be linked to anyone named Josephine or to anyone named Meir Samuel. So for now, that's pretty much where we can get to, is the name of the town the family's from, but there just isn't enough to get any further back. Just like a magic trick, we have found out where the ancestors of Ricky Jay and Harry Houdini come from. And that wraps up our episode. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, I'm looking forward to bringing you more videos about famous Jews, as well as tips and tricks you can use in your own genealogy research. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll get you next time.